Hey, sixth grade, you're back to your like super trooper time here. Page 205 in your math workbook. A race car uses 2 gallons of gas to travel 25 miles. How many miles can the race car travel on 8 gallons of gas? Okay, so of course, it's all the stuff we've been doing, right? I'm going to set it up here gallons, and, um, and then you go the distance, right? And we've got 2 gallons will take you 25 miles. Personally, I mean, you can count up 2, 4, 6, 8. I'll show you. Um, if you've got 4 gallons of gas, 2, 4, 6, 8, I'm obviously just counting by twos. 25, you're going to count by 25s, 25, 50, 75, 100. Okay, so our answer is you can travel 100 miles on 8 gallons of gas. Now, a different way to solve this, because you know I like to do that. How do you get from your 2 gallons of gas to your 8 gallons of gas? Take it times 4. How do you get from your 25 to 100? Take it times 4, and you figure that out. In the book here, it shows essentially that exact same thing. I'm just going to scoot that down in a different way. So they just write it as a fraction. So 2/25 equals 8 gallons. So notice how I've got my gallons on top here. If you switch those around, you're doing a different problem. So again, 2 times what gives you 8 times 4, do the same thing here. If you do the cross multiply and then divide that answer by 2, guess what? It totally works. 25 times 4 is 100. So if you double the 4 to get 8, you double that 100, you would get 200. Cross multiply, 200 divided by 2 gives you that missing puzzle piece, which is 100. So many fabulous ways to get this. You don't have to write all of these. Like, honestly, you guys, if you just write this down, you're good. Another thing, we haven't done this in a while, but factor puzzles, some of you are a little scared of this, so you can ignore it if you wish. Again, you've got to have like your gallons and your miles in different spots. So if you've got 2 gallons, you're trying to figure out the 8 gallons, 2 gallons for 25 miles, that has to stay in the same row or you're essentially changing your fraction, right? Oh no, you guys. Well, okay. 1 is my only factor that's common there. 1 times 2 gives me 2. That's the second column of my multiple table, essentially. 2 times 4 gives me 8. That looks like a 9. I'm so sorry. The fourth row, 1 times 25 gives me 25. This is a weird one. And you end up with the problem that says 25 times 4 gives you your answer. And it does. So factor puzzles are kind of a fun sleuthy way to figure out like your ratio stuff without writing fractions or ratios. Okay, but again, that takes some practice. If you love it, go for it. If it scares you, you don't have to solve it that way. Okay. This should go in your notes. A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. Okay, so percent equals out of 100. Okay, notes. Percent means out of, good gravy, out of 100. Okay, it's represented by the percent symbol. You're familiar with that. Number 1, Eleanor, Tilly, and Caleb earn money training dogs to surf. For every dollar they earn, Caleb gets 20 cents, Tilly gets 30 cents, and Eleanor gets 50 cents. Write a ratio that shows how much each trainer earns from a dollar. All right, so Caleb earns 20 cents. We're going to put 20 in there. Tilly earns 30 cents, and dollars are out of 100 cents, right? Like 99 cents, and then the next penny tops you up to another dollar. So, okay, look at that awesome dog. He's like rocking it. So anyway, it's nice to think about money as percents because we literally have 100 cents in a dollar. Now, just a heads up, if you're thinking about time, we have 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour. So like a quarter of an hour is 15 minutes. A quarter of a dollar is 25 cents because your money is like a percent, it's out of 100, but our time doesn't work that way. So just a little heads up that you have to be careful about your like total number sometimes, okay? B, Caleb's portion of each dollar is on the 10 by 10 grid. So he earns 20 cents for each dollar. They've got the 2/10 filled in here. How How many boxes do you need to shade to represent Tilly's portion? Well, if he's 20 out of 100, you shade 20. Tilly's portion, you're going to shade 30 boxes or 3 columns, okay? Because you've got 1, 2, 3 columns, gives you the 30 boxes. C, a percent is a part to whole ratio with a whole of 100. You can write it as 25%, 25 to 100, or 25 over 100. So just like we've been writing ratios 3 different ways, okay? Write percents to represent the amounts Caleb and Tilly earn from each dollar. Explain how you found them. Okay, so we've got Caleb's is 20%, right? And Tilly is 30% because he gets 20 cents out of every dollar, or 20 out of 100. This is Caleb. I maybe should have written their names first. And he, let's see, no, Tilly, sorry, Tilly gets 30 cents out of that 100 total cents. So she gets the 30%, or 30 out of that 100 possible cents. D, what part is on the grid that's not shaped? What does that represent? Write a percent to represent this portion. So we've got Caleb's portion covered, we've got Tilly's portion covered, and the remaining boxes represent Eleanor's earnings, which is 50%, half of everything. She must do most of the work or something. I don't know how they split this up with their percentages, or why they did. I see how they did it. I don't know why. So, or maybe she scoops up the dog poop and they're like, we'll walk the dogs. I don't know. You do the other stuff with the surfing. I don't know. Or maybe she's in the water with them. At any rate, that's an epic job. So, okay, number 2, a survey says that 13 out of 20 people have pets. Write this ratio as a percent, okay? Now, 13 is not out of 100, so our answer is not 13%. So we have to essentially count up or multiply and make it proportional to figure out what it is out of 100, okay? So you can use a table. We're going to fill this in. People who have pets, so you've got 13 out of 20. Keep counting up here. 20, 40. We'd be missing 60 here. We've got 80 and 100. So we're skip counting by 20s. Okay, let's count by 13s. Got a 26 here. Hopefully I can line this up all right. Add 13, you get 39. Add 13, you get 52. Add 13, you get 65. Hope I did that correctly. When I make silly mistakes in class, I appreciate your help with that. And when I'm on my own, it does feel a little scarier. So I understand the power of partner work and how nice it is just to have someone to talk your problems through. Anyway, so I think if I did that correctly, what would the people who own pets, what would their percent be as 13 out of 20? Well, we have to look at our out of 100 total people option here, and it would be 65%. Okay, and it's me, so I'm going to show you another way to do this. Okay, 13 out of 20 equals what out of 100? Okay, so just a different way. You can write this down if you'd like. If you just want to listen, that's fine. How do you get from 20 to 100? Take it times 5. How do you get from 13 to 100? Take it times 5. And I believe 13 times 5 is 65. Yes, so 13 out of 20. Essentially, we have to convert it. Convert the fraction to something over 100. Way to hang in there, 6th grade. Okay, C. Oh, here we go. I just did this. Okay, so you do have to write this part down, just not at the top where I did this. So you have to take 20 times 5 to get to that 100. You take 13 times 5. I don't know if you guys love when this happens, when I say something and then the book just does exactly what I just said. I get ahead of myself. Anyway, so it goes sometimes, right? So 13 times 5 gives us 65. So that means 13 out of 20 is 65%. Okay. Another thing, and I don't think this is going to pop up yet. You don't have to write this down. If you want to put this in your notes, you can. Okay. So you'll probably remember from last year, like this fraction bar means to divide. Okay. So we have 13, oh heavens, divided by 20. Pretend that looks so nice. 20 doesn't go into 13. And sometimes kids panic. They're like, yep, You're right. It doesn't need to though. 20 goes into 130. Guess what we're going to get here? 65 over 100. Here's why it's important to know your decimals. 0.6. Think about what's coming here. So 20 goes into 136 times. That gives us 120. So we have 10 left. There's still nothing back here. So I don't just plunk my 10 up there. I actually have to keep cruising since I'm behind my decimal. 20 goes into 100 5 times. And when you literally do 13 divided by 20, you get 65 hundredths or 0.65 or with your fraction here, 65 over 100. So there's so many different ways. And this is the beauty of a calculator too, you guys. You could seriously, in some upcoming lessons here, punch in like 13 divided by 20, boom, you get 0.65 right there. And as it's kind of silly, but writing is so powerful, but honestly, a lot of fractions I have memorized as percents and decimals because I punched them into the calculator several times as like a junior high kid. So anyway, so there's beauty in some of these tools here. Okay, we're going to finish off the page. Number 3, a recipe for pie crust includes the ingredients shown. Find the ratio of sugar to flour as a percent. Okay, we have to pay attention to the order here. It says sugar to flour, so you have to put your sugar number first. Okay, it says 1 cup of sugar to 4 cups of flour. So our ratio is 1 to 4. You could write it as a fraction. Oopsie, what? Okay. It says fraction, sorry. What fraction can represent the ratio of flour to sugar? There we go, 1/4. So when they specify fraction, we have to do that. Convert this fraction to a decimal. Explain what you did for the conversion. Well, a lot of you know that 1/4 is 0.25, right? Because a quarter of a full 100 is 25 cents, or right, 25 over 100. Explain how you did that. Some of you just know this, but you can divide 1 by 4. And I'll show you. You get 25 hundredths. So 1 divided by, hold on, let me give myself more space. 1 divided by 4. 4 doesn't go into 1, and that's good because we're going to get something smaller than 1. So it's 1.0. 4 goes into 10 twice. Take away 8. I'm so sorry. Your work's going to be way better than mine. We have 2 left. There's still nothing back here. I'm not done. You do not just get to plunk this 2 up there. It does not work that way. Okay, if only it were that easy. 4 goes into 20 5 times perfectly, and there you have it. Okay, nothing's left. So 0.25. You literally divide 1 by 4, and that's how you get it. You could, if you prefer this way, that's okay. You could say like, well, I'm going to set it up as ratios. 1/4 equals what over 100? How do you get there? Times 25. Take this times 25. And if you want, you can find the literal fraction and then change that 100th fraction to a decimal. Okay, so whichever method you want, you don't have to have your explanation be very complicated. Just briefly tell me like, hey, this is the route that I prefer to go. Okay, write the decimal as a percent. So here's our 0.25. Here's the beauty. Okay, 0.25. We know that that is 25 over 100 because it's 25 hundredths. And we know, here's what you have to write. It's 25%. Okay, so there's our answer. Explain how you found it. Well, 0.25 equals 25 hundredths. So we know that works. Another tip is when you have 0.25, 25 hundredths, and you're switching it 2%, all we really have to do is shift our decimal back 2 spots, make our number bigger. We just took it times 100. We made it out of 100. And that gives you your percent. So again, whether you want to put your decimal into that main fraction and then kind of break it down, if you will, as the percent, or if you're like, hey, I know that if I take my decimal times 100, it gives me the 100th, and I'm just going to shift my decimal back twice. So just a little sample, however you want to do that. Shift decimal back 2 times. Okay. So if that's what you want to do, just jot that down, and that's great. Okay, well, I miss you guys, but good work. Hang in there. We'll see you tomorrow.